Hey now! What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and Obi Wan Kenobi is here, finally. I remember when this was first supposed to be a movie, and I was so excited about it because Ewan McGregor was down from the beginning, and then, for whatever reason, I still don't exactly know why. It might have something to do with Solo failing at the box office. Either way, the movie got canceled. And I said, shit, because I couldn't care less about that Solo movie, but this was the movie that I wanted, and this is the story that I wanted. But luckily, we got it as a show, as a series, which might end up being better than whatever the movie was going to be, because this is going to be, 6 hours or so? And episode 1 starts off, first things first, they gave us a recap of the prequel trilogy. And I have gone on record multiple times on saying that the prequel movies I hate. I think they're terrible. But I know that they have their fans. I know they have their defenders. And I will admit, the way that they cut together the footage and the story from the prequels and presented it with that ominous music, more serious tone, hell, it made me want to rewatch the prequels. But I know I'd be disappointed if I went ahead and did that. In any event, though, you see Ewan McGregor back as Obi Wan Kenobi, and man, oh man, did it just feel right. We needed him specifically to come back for this part. He looked great, even though they had plenty of other characters say that he's old now, and he looks like he's out of touch, and all this stuff. It's like, I know. Maybe Ewan is playing Obi-Wan older than what he really is. Either way, I thought Ewan looked great, especially with the beard and him having to go around with the hood and the robe and whatnot. But the idea that he's having to cut himself off from the Force, he's having to shield himself from people looking after him, he's living a quote normal life, and he's not drawing attention. I had so many issues in The Last Jedi with Luke Skywalker doing this, because Luke was a lot more bitter and angry, and he was just in a darker place, and I wasn't quite sure, especially because we don't see why, we just kind of hear it, but we don't see why Luke or how Luke got there. But because we know Obi-Wan's story, but because we've seen the prequels, we've seen the Jedi lose, we've seen them all virtually be killed. There was even a brief part at the beginning where they showed Order 66, which was also great because it's a reminder of what the Jedi lost, the battle, the war that they seemingly lost. And so it makes way more sense that Obi-Wan is done with it. And it's not as much that he's now turned his back on what the Jedi meant, or that he's now like, F the Jedi, it's all crap. He knows that they were defeated when they were. He knows that someday, one day, Luke will be the future. Luke will be the next person that he himself will train. And so I appreciated that we had the moment where Obi-Wan showed interest in wanting to train Luke eventually. There is still a glimmer of hope in there. It's not all doom and gloom for Obi-Wan, although I felt bad for that one Force user Jedi who tried to come to Obi-Wan for help. Oh my god, their Inquisitors are chasing after me, you need to help me. And Obi-Wan's like, tough luck, dude, good luck. And of course that dude ended up dead. And so there's that. The Inquisitors, I don't know much about them because I have not watched the Clone Wars or Rebels. I plan on getting into that now, especially because of everything that's coming into these Star Wars shows. But I like their look. I love how they very easily presented who they were. We're the Inquisitors, and we're here to hunt Jedi. Simple, straightforward, to the point. And but the one character, the third sister, they kept calling her, Reva, I really like this actress. I love the fact that she was sort of on her own path. She wasn't as much going along with what the Grand Inquisitor, the leader, was trying to do. She had her own plans that actually worked, even though she's one of the bad guys, even though I shouldn't like her. I kind of respected. Mad props to this Reva character, Reva, whatever. on how she was able to draw Obi-Wan out. It's a really smart plan, and I'm glad she killed the main dude. Fuck it. She should be the one who's leading the charge because she knows what the hell she's doing. Now, I was not expecting Leia, young Leia, to be involved in this show. Maybe they did show it in trailers and I've just stayed away from like the later trailers, or I don't know. I did not know that she was showing up. This little girl, I thought, did a great job playing young Leia. She has that personality side to her already where she doesn't really listen to authority. She goes off and runs off and does whatever she wants to do. That makes sense for who Leia ends up being. Yes, you could argue that there are moments, especially in episode 2, where she was more annoying because she wasn't listening to Obi-Wan, but also she's 10. Just because some dude comes up to you and says, "Hey, I'm friends with your father. Follow me, little girl," it does make sense. It actually is smart for her to be weary and questioning and like, "I don't know you, dude. I don't trust you." It just was like, we know Obi-Wan's good, so just listen to him. But I loved it. I loved that it wasn't Luke or anything happening to Luke, because I didn't really know what would be the cause for Obi-Wan to come back out for one last fight, but it was Bail Organa coming to Obi-Wan and basically pleading with him, "Hey, find my daughter. She's just as important as Luke is." And I also like that Obi-Wan was struggling with the whole not wanting to do it mostly for himself as well, because he's not what he used to be. He's not as young and spry as he once was, and he was afraid of failing, just like he failed Anakin. We had a scene earlier on where he was having nightmares and visions of what happened in the past, and seeing how much of this is hanging on the prequels. Again, it makes the prequels more important. I think this is the property that's most connecting back to the prequels. They've almost seemed like Disney Star Wars, almost seemed like they were ignoring the prequels or not addressing them, referencing them. But this show, they're going all in. We're seeing Padme in visions. You're seeing Natalie Portman, Hayden Christensen, obviously, for obvious reasons. We also get a lot of Obi-Wan saying, "Master, I need your guidance." He's calling out to Qui-Gon Jinn. They have to be setting up Liam Neeson as a Force ghost coming back to talk to Obi-Wan, and what will be the most special scene, I think, of the series, if we end up getting that. I do very much hope so. And Uncle Owen, we can't not talk about Joel Edgerton being in this. Thank God that George Lucas casted him to play that small part in Revenge of the Sith, because who would know back then that he would go on to become this great actor. And so now you get to bring him back, and now you get to have scenes with him that are poignant and that are layered, with him not wanting Obi-Wan to have anything to do with Luke. And even the scene where he was being threatened by Reva, like, I hope we see more of Owen. I do. But as much as people are sick of Tatooine, and I will admit I was getting there as well, episode 2, we're off planet. We're on a new planet. We're in this dirty, scummy city that looks straight out of cyberpunk, looks very cool and unique. The lighting and just, I thought it was great. And I want to see more planets or more cities in the Star Wars universe. This was refreshing. I love that not only was Obi-Wan there to look for Leia, but you saw the criminal underground aspects of this city, like those that young kid dealing drugs, you know. It's pretty dark and pretty heavy if you sit there and think about how she says nobody leaves this planet. I was somebody's daughter once. Hey, take this and you'll forget you even had a daughter. Like, boy, you know, Star Wars is PG, but hey, we can go there. And I love that Reva put a bounty on him, making things a lot more difficult. We got to a point where we met Kumail Nanjiani, who at first I thought he was playing a scummy person, somebody who was pretending to be a Jedi and was just using that to get money from people. And yes, he was doing that, but once he realized who Obi-Wan was, he turned out to be good and he helped him. I don't know if we'll see Kumail Nanjiani again, but I liked that he did come around and help him at the end. and you get that moment where Obi-Wan is trying to escape with Leia, and Reva shows up and tells Obi-Wan, they weren't face to face. She still hasn't even technically, I think, seen Obi-Wan in person, but she can know he's around. But she says out loud, Anakin is still alive. You didn't know this? Darth Vader is coming for you. And this kind of shook Obi-Wan, and I loved it. I love that. Even though if they had only given us episode 1, that would have been enough to get me jazzed and get me excited to continue with the series. Giving us both episodes and having it end with Obi-Wan finding out about Anakin. And that's going to put him in a completely new mindset for episode 3. But we get a clear shot of Hayden Christensen as Anakin, and he's all charred up and he's in his tank. And this means a lot more. The fact that it's Hayden Christensen playing Vader, I don't know what they're going to do with the voice. I don't know if James Earl Jones is attached to this, or I don't know if maybe they're just going to modulate Hayden's voice to sound like Vader. Either way, this does make it more special. This does bring it back to the way it should be by having Hayden actually physically play Vader. It's something that I never thought I'd see. It's something that I never even really wanted until they gave it to me. And for some reason now, I am nostalgic. For movies that I don't care for, I am nostalgic to see what Hayden does with this role and how he's going to play Vader. Boy, this show has me hooked. I am so in. This is great. This is great. Good job, Star Wars, Disney. You got me back in. Your TV shows are keeping me in the fandom. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of these first 2 episodes of Obi Wan Kenobi. We have to give a shout out to Deborah Chow, who is the showrunner behind this. I believe she's directing each and every single episode, and so far she's knocking it out the park. I had to mention her by name. She's amazing. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!